Hey everybody, welcome to this Freespace 2 kind of behind the scenes, a recap as we go over having just recorded our first session together for Freespace 2. It was episode 0, which is the Patreon exclusive, as well as episodes 1, 2, and 3. Bryan, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, so I guess we'll kind of talk about how this started. Or Bryan, if you got anything that you wanted to say or questions you had, or kind of how we got into this, or I can kind of start
Uh,
too. But
I think honestly, you probably would be more, you'd probably be the better candidate to talk about it since you know the
sure,
game so well. I'm a newbie when it comes to the free space world. I've not played this game or its predecessor before, but I'm always happy to jump in and help and play supporting roles in videos like this for you boaters. So I'm happy to be here. But when it comes to free space, this is a new world for me, so I think that you might be more equipped to speak onto the game and what we're accomplishing here than I could.
yeah. So part of it is the game, but part of it is also the way that we're doing it, which I think is a little more in your wheelhouse. So I did
Mhm.
Free Space, The Great War, or Descent Free Space, depending on what market you're in. 2014 is when that aired on my channel. So that's 11 years ago, and I had never gotten around to doing the sequel. And I really liked in the first one how I did the bits against green screen wearing a flight suit of, hey, I'm boater, let's play, we're doing free space, we're on the hangar of the Bastion or the Galatee, let's play something. And it was not in character, and when I do let's plays, they're not really in character type things. But in this case, I was like, oh, well, what if I have someone else kind of do that intro for me? I would love it
Mhm.
to be Bryan. And kind of as we were talking, I got more enamored with the idea of like, what if we just do it all in character? Um, and there's a couple of series that are on YouTube that are what was it? I think Neebs Gaming that does Subnautica that they do in character, and that did very well for them. And I don't know if I'm specifically chasing that or if I just saw that like, hey, I think that would be fun to try to do. But also this kind of protracted improv of like you are just in character for half an hour and kind of doing your best in that is something that I have very little experience with. I've done a lot of like scripted acting and stuff, and I've played a lot of D&D, which has that getting into character, but you're not in character for the half hour straight. You can say, oh, okay, well I say, oh, da, 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 whatever. So
Right, right. Yeah, go in and out of your character in those sessions, as opposed to this where you're pretty locked in for the duration of the game level.
yeah. So I know that you've got a theater background, but do you have like improv as any of that?
I do actually. I did improv comedy. Actually, founded an improv group while I was in college.
Oh
So
wow,
I did
okay.
improv for most of my time in college, and I've also done like sketch comedy and what have you. A lot of that improv instinct has been very big help over the years in my performance instincts, and we've used it a lot on film projects that you and I have worked on in the past. It's come in handy a lot of the times when just rebuffing some dialogue for projects that may just need a little bit more of a polish. So it has been a very useful thing. The long form character work is definitely something that I haven't touched in a little bit of time. So it's been
Hmm.
fun kind of coming back into this, especially with a world that has familiarity to me. I'm a big sci-fi fan. We've done a lot of different projects that are science fiction based. You and I are both very big fans of Star Wars and adjacent projects like that.
Hmm.
And so there is a lot to grasp onto in here. I can also see um, some of the larger ship to ship kind of battling, not dissimilar to your Destroyers universe that you've written about, that I did the audiobook narration for. So,
Yes.
there are aspects of this world that feel very familiar, but when
Hmm.
it comes to like the terminology, the specific circumstances, things like that are specific solely to this game or this series of games, that is definitely something that is a little bit new to me that I'm maybe a little bit more restrained on for these first couple of levels. But I
Yeah.
feel like as we go and learn more about the story, well, as I learn more about the story, as you revisit the story, since you played these before,
I've played
I
Freespace 2
feel like that'll
exactly
change.
once. It has been over 2 decades since I played this particular game. But yes, I do have a little bit
Fair.
of that familiarity. Certainly I've played the first one a bunch of times, so I have that as well. Yeah, I'm enjoying, like, part of it is staying in character while I'm playing the game, which is not necessarily easy. I've got it on like medium difficulty, but like,
Hmm.
when a ship starts doing that like orbit around you and you're just trying to pitch up and just shoot the damn thing. I get lucked into
Hmm.
some of those, and I don't know if I'll probably edit those down a little bit. But so like trying to stay in character for that, but then also like, okay, not just to like be in character, but how to be interesting and to say stuff that is like, interesting in character, say stuff that is, advances whatever storyline we're creating with these two
Hmm.
characters.
Absolutely. And is it interesting? I'm curious what you think, because I know you do a lot of live stream gaming, but you're not exactly live streaming while we're making this. This is more like your traditional content,
Yeah.
and yet you're still gaming for an audience. Does that feel different for you?
No, well, it doesn't feel different for me as far as like playing a game for the audience, but normally when I'm
Hmm.
playing a game for the audience, there is no fourth wall. I'm always looking at the camera. I'm addressing the audience over here. I point to the camera. I'm using that one over there. Um, but I'm addressing the audience to their face, and I use the plural first person pronoun of we're gonna do this, we're gonna work through that, whatever. So
Hmm.
it's different because of being in character, not necessarily because it's different from streaming, but it is I've been doing Let's Plays and stuff for a long time. I think probably about 12 years since the first one came out, and it is just exercising a very different part of my brain to be playing the game and be acting, not for the camera, while also keeping in mind, oh, hold on, I need to restart the camera at the 30-minute mark, but not like, there's been a couple times when I've like mugged for the flight recorder, especially during the training missions that we did in episode 0, where I was like just kind of mouthing along with the dialogue and stuff. But for the most part, it's not because in audience, it's for the black box, or as though you can see it or something.
Of course, of course. I have to say, it's very fascinating playing not necessarily an authority figure, but somebody who has like know-how and knowledge. And when we started episode 0, you were asking me, oh, should I do this? And I actually didn't know what the right answer should be given the
Yeah,
context of the
I
world.
was I, w-
So
I wasn't
it's
setting you up for
interesting being
success in
thrown
that.
these. It's okay. I mean, you know this world a lot better than I do, and you're just kind of used to your vibe. And obviously, I'll come up with some kind of answer. I just don't know if that's going to make me sound like a fool or not. But we'll
Uh,
figure that out as we go. So it's just fascinating to see that happening, in real time. And like, oh gosh, I better, think a little bit more about how I want to respond to some of these things,
mhm.
as opposed to just completely, winging it. Pardon
Yeah.
the, flight simulator pun, but
Yeah, well, it's
I think
was
it's
it
definitely something
episode
that you don't.
episode
Go
0.
ahead,
it
please.
was it was like, you made the joke about turnover, and I was like, oh, is that like just a lot of people transferring in and out of the ship? And the way you said it was the implication of like, no, a lot of our pilots die, and it was,
Which is
oh,
what I was going
yes,
for. That's the
exactly.
one thing that I was like, okay, no, we're at war or there's a war coming. Like pilots are dying. We need to replace pilots.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
it's
that
oh,
was
they're
definitely the.
replacements kind of thing. It's a replacement.
Yeah.
People, it's a replacement. Oh, and I kind of, I think it was nonverbal, my reaction, but it was, oh.
Right.
And
Right.
then of course, again, that's like the Patreon exclusive episode 0, but that ended up coming back when at one point in the middle of the game, and I don't know if you noticed, but in the upper right of the screen, it shows you your squad mates. The amber circle is they are present. A red circle is they are damaged. A red hollow circle is they are destroyed. So at one moment, I looked
Ah.
up, and uh, all members of Alpha and Beta Wing were absolutely destroyed. And I think I said something along the lines of, I see what you mean by turnover.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
So, all right. So, I'm looking forward to our next session that we get to do. It's interesting because we're playing through the entire game first. We're taking a few notes, and then we're going to go back and record the intros on green screen where we have maybe a little bit of story. I don't know how much we'll script versus improv those, or just like make a note of what we need. Probably first couple are going to be a little more break the fourth wall, and then we'll slide into it. But we'll figure that out as we go. But I'm excited to just continue playing as well. That, you know, next episode they'll have come off that movie night and they'll be, you know, a little closer and probably like, you know, ribbing each other a little more and being able to take it a bit better. Whereas, you know, the first couple times that you made you know, innuendos, my character was like, that's not all right, targeting.
Some of those were definitely accidental, and then I realized what I said afterward. But you know, you made it work.
I think it works for your character being like has seen a lot of people die and really doesn't care if any one of them is particularly uncomfortable with his banter because like he won't be here next week. I think,
what are they going to do? Report me?
Yeah, right. How are they going to report me when they're floating in pieces? Well, you're not getting rid of me.
Live long enough to see the process.
You're not getting rid of me. We pulled out the Edge of Tomorrow plot thread to explain dying in missions. So,
oh right, of course,
which we forgot to talk about ahead of time, and then I died in episode 1, and it was okay. We need to figure something out. But I like it, and I think that it's something that we can use to like add some depth as well as just kind of explaining the fact that I'm gonna die in missions. So.
I think it's really fun to add just a little, you know, give it a little bit of a story reason, given how that normally is not, you know, it's not actually in the story in a video game, obviously. So it's nice to actually give that some sort of plot device.
Yeah, as far as we can with how we're presenting it, because it's like, you know, there's stuff that we're talking about in there, and we can't just be like, all right, wipe that didn't happen, start again. You know, that's frustrating too. If it takes like an hour to complete a mission and 50 minutes of that hour just don't make it out on camera. Whereas, you know, if I die that many times, then, you know, we get the slow descent into insanity over the course of the episode.
Right. I mean, we would get more frustrated producing this. We also would be throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We'd be coming up with, you know, routines and bits and then having to remember, oh, is that still in the take or not if we're throwing out the entire, you know, first go at the mission, you know, making references to things that wouldn't have existed. Exactly. You know, was the callback still calling back to something the audience has seen?
Right.
So
and that might run us into something where like the callback would work for my character but not for yours, but I think we just kind of glaze over that.
I think that's fine. Honestly, I think that's a very smart way to do it because in the real, you know, in the universe of the game, like really the only person going back, I mean, it is everybody, but, you know, in the game, all the NPCs are treated as if like that never happened.
Yeah.
But it did happen in your memory as the player. So it's a good mechanism. I know we were joking about like the Groundhog Day, the Edge of Tomorrow, the time loop, you know, the window of opportunity for the Stargate fans. Yeah. You know, like that mechanic is just such a trope in science fiction time travel stories, but
it's really
works.
Useful here.
And I think it works really well for this kind of video game structure. So I mean, it was in Ready Player One, you know, the one up, you know, like that kind of, you know, those things are, you know, so built into the fabric of gaming that to cut those attempts where you blow up out to just have the perfect go through for your series, I think would be, you know, a little hollow, and I think it's actually more fun this way.
Yeah,
you know?
There's definitely, I think in 13 was the most recent one that I had done, the video game 13, where I just said number of times that I die in this encounter, and just had a counter going. And I'm not going to have a counter going here because it's not quite the right tone, but I think it's fun for viewers to see the failure, but then also overcoming it. You know, the sense of accomplishment in doing so. So
yeah.
So that'll be next time. Thank you guys very much for watching. This has been post episodes 1, 2, and 3. And next session we'll keep recording more, and we'll do another talk back at the end of that. So thank you all so much for watching. Do all the YouTube stuff that, because of the way that we're doing all in character, I'm not doing the shout out at the end of like, hey, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitch, follow us on Blue Sky. All of our stuff is in the description below. So, you know, do all the social media stuff, find that there. And we'll see you next time. I got something in my throat. I got a cough. Hold on. Anyway, do all the social stuff, and we'll see you next time. Thank you all guys so much for watching. Bye, everybody.